4 years ago, the President of the United States attempted a violent coup. 3 months ago, Americans re-elected him. Here's what January 6th shows us about what Trump 2.0 will be like. 3 key facts. Number 1. MAGA leaders are trying to rewrite history, so first, let's be clear. January 6th was a violent, deadly, criminal attack on the United States that wounded about 150 Capitol Police and led to at least 7 deaths, as determined by a bipartisan Senate report. At the time, virtually everyone agreed Trump was to blame.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
The violence was not a surprise. Sworn testimony reveals that the Trump White House knew in advance that Trump supporters planned to invade the Capitol. All the way up to January 6th, Trump allies/convicted felons Roger Stone and Michael Flynn coordinated with the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, whose leaders have since been convicted of seditious conspiracy against the United States. Flynn met with Trump in the Oval Office hours before Trump first proposed a January 6th event with his infamous "Be there, will be wild" tweet. On the eve of January 6th, Trump spoke to Steve Bannon about what was going to happen.
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow.
And on January 6th, Trump knew that the crowd had deadly weapons when he ordered them to go to the Capitol and fight like hell.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Then Trump watched the violence unfold on TV, refusing to do anything to stop it for hours. The evidence of Trump's guilt was strong enough for a grand jury of ordinary citizens to charge him with 4 felonies, for which he would have been criminally tried if the MAGA justices of the Supreme Court hadn't intervened. Number 2. If Trump makes good on his promise to pardon the violent criminals who brutalized Capitol Police and tried to overturn the will of American voters, it will send a deadly message that violence against Trump's opponents will not just be tolerated, but encouraged.
Knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously.
In Trump's first term, we still had a Justice Department willing to prosecute right-wing extremists. And even so, hate crimes shot up 20% under Trump, according to FBI data. How much worse will it be with Trump flunkies Pam Bondi as Attorney General and Kash Patel heading the FBI? Number 3. January 6th shows that Trump is willing to break the law and violate the Constitution to hold on to power. Given that, how can we be sure he will leave office in 4 years? He's repeatedly talked about serving more than 2 terms.
We'll be here for 4 years, and then if we decide to go for an extra 4 or 8 or something. When someday I leave, whether it's in 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, 16 years.
12 more years! 12 more years!
The 22nd Amendment bars a president from serving more than 2 terms. But supposedly, the 14th Amendment bars any elected official who's been part of an insurrection from ever holding office again. And yet, here we are. Will Trump be bound by the Constitution? He's already called at least once for terminating it, and has promised to override parts of it, like birthright citizenship, by executive order. That's all against the law, but the MAGA justices of the Supreme Court have granted him permission to break the law. On January 6th, and every other day, we must remember that the Constitution isn't like the law of gravity. It only holds up if we, the people, choose to uphold it. I'm Alan Piper at A Piper 13. Follow Courier Newsroom for the facts you need.